I'm State Representative Sheryl Delozier, and we're proud to be here at the 104th Farm Show, and we're glad to have Secretary Redding here with us. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here. It's a busy, busy day that we have circling. I've seen Christmas trees, I've seen crafts, I've seen alpacas, I've seen just about a little bit of everything. Saw a play set, kids are having a great time in the play yard. So there's some amazing things here at the farm show.
Something for everybody,
yes.
Right?
Truly.
Truly, every aisle, every building, every arena, something.
It doesn't matter what your food taste is either, because I just left the food court with the milkshakes. And as everybody was coming up, I saw so many different variations on food. I am starving and I will be heading back there after this. But the big thing that a lot of times we'll talk about and people don't recognize, and the farm show is a great educator for that, is how widespread agribusiness is. And it is agriculture is a leading industry, but agribusiness, people don't understand that it's not just animals, that how much else goes into the ag business and the ag industry. Can you give us a little bit of insight as to how that impacts Pennsylvania's economy?
Yeah, it's critical, right? Because most of society thinks of us in one dimension, right? It's the farmer. Critical piece.
Absolutely.
But you've got this whole sort of supply chain and the work that we did the last couple of years to really try to quantify that. So it's 18% of the state's gross economy is agriculture and food, 580,000 jobs. $136 billion worth of activity. It includes all of food processing, all of production agriculture, the equine industry, which is big, across the state and in your district. Plus we have the forest products industry, and everything we consider sort of the greenhouse and the plant side. And again, your district's a great sort of microcosm of all of that, right?
Really.
It's a great, so all of that is inside this definition of what is agriculture.
And it's amazing being in Cumberland County and closest to the city, my district is, so I don't have as many farms as some of the other Cumberland County representatives, but the ability for us to advocate for farming as a whole and the ability to say that yes, we need to support our farming industry is something that I think all of us share that passion. And that's one thing that I know working with the Farm Bureau, that they are very appreciative of the fact that people will advocate for this industry and the ability to have a farm show like this and continue to educate people, because I don't think people recognize how much, my daughter's going to college soon and she's in the sciences, and I actually was talking about how much chemistry and how much biology and how much all of that is required to work a farm now. And going out on the farms and touring them is pretty amazing. You learn so much. And one of the things that the farms in my area has not only stayed with farming, but they've also moved over to the other part of it, which is making their barns into agribusiness and hosting events at the farm. So many weddings come out there and they want to be on a farm because it's beautiful. So that's always a good thing. But the 104th, as I was working the milk show, or the milkshakes, people were asking for strawberry. And I said, no, that only happened for the 100th.
I know. We'll have to get that back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People really like that. But the ability for us to take a look at our industry as a whole. The theme that we have this year, can you talk a little bit about that?
I'm proud of it. It's imagine the opportunities, right? So all the things we've been talking about of jobs and careers and perspective and food all fit inside of that very nicely. There are opportunities here at the farm show, every aisle, every building, every arena. But it's also about what happens in the industry. We're surrounded by some posters and signage here around jobs. And I think it's exciting to say, it's one of these areas where the farmer's a piece of that, but so is the food scientist, right? Yeah. It's the technician, the conservation district. It's the global and the all of the technology pieces.
Yes, it's amazing how much technology.
It's all part of
the labs, all the lab studies that you have and everything. Yeah. We have a lot of, the hardwoods. That's one thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to here in Pennsylvania, but it's a really big industry. And hardwoods have changed over the years and evolved. Yeah. And can you give us an update as to where that stands right now? Well,
it's been interesting. So in the last 20 years, we were always sort of the logs, the raw materials here. Logs are harvested here, furniture made here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sort of moved, and it moved to, doing sort of the shipping of logs. It's interesting now we're back to having more logs, building materials, fine lumber. The largest stand of, hardwoods, and particularly cherry in the world is in Pennsylvania, right? It's $1.2 billion of our exports. Mm-hmm. PA. It's a significant piece of PA agriculture. So
that was one of the areas that I learned the most about when looking at the state budget and what hardwoods did for our economy, job-wise as well. But one of the biggest issues that we've also heard about a lot, and it's been in the news, is invasive species and certain entities that aren't natural here, and when they come in, they cause destruction. And one of them is a very pretty butterfly.
Unfortunately,
it looks very pretty, but can you talk about the impact that these invasive species have?
Yeah, invasive species, I don't know what, I think part of it is we've got a port in Pennsylvania, the amount of travel, international travel, just how mobile society is, but increasingly we have these threats that are appearing. Spotted lanternfly, first spot in North America a couple of years ago. Berks County is now 14 counties in Pennsylvania quarantine. And as we've witnessed, I mean, they're invasive in every way. I mean, socially, economically, environmentally.
What's their damage? What do they do necessarily?
Yeah, so the issue is they are sugar seekers, right? So they suck the life basically out of the plants and out of trees. And after a while, the tree simply can't recover.
Survive.
Yeah. We've seen that it kills vineyards, it loves grapes, not much it hasn't met that it likes. So we're really worried about what happens to hardwoods, what happens to the vineyards of Pennsylvania, what happens to, think of any sort of plant that we grow with a high sugar content, and it's attracted to it, right? So that's an issue. So we have it in Pennsylvania, and we're working hard. Penn State University is working with us. It's one of those items of the Pennsylvania Farm Bill of investment that we've made to try to find that broad-based control for it. We're not there yet. And trying to really find an answer. How do we contain it and suppress it?
And a lot of it would be reactionary, I would imagine, because the ability, I mean, we obviously may have a plan for suppressing things that we don't want to have in Pennsylvania, but you don't know what you've got until it's here, unfortunately.
That's right.
And so the reaction time and the ability, like you're talking with the Penn State, we have wonderful research entities throughout our state, and we're very proud of them, but the ability for us to respond, how quickly does it take to respond to something once it comes in?
Well, that's what we're finding out right now, right? So I think that's partly the challenge, is that it's never been in North America. There's no labeled products. There's some effective sprays that are on the market commercially, over the counter to spray. The problem is, as I look to the pollinators and the honey booth next door, the issue is that those sprays also take out all the pollinators.
Oh.
That's part of our challenge.
Okay.
So now we're trying to balance it, right? So we've got a problem, but you're actually going to take all the beneficial bugs, as they're called, out as well. We don't want to do that. Yeah. So the research is saying, how do we find that sort of spray or control? We think it may be more like a bio-type product, something that's more already in the environment that works against the spotted lanternfly. There's some of the research projects.
All that science coming back
again. It's all about science, exactly.
Right, yeah, right. It's pretty amazing to learn about that. A lot of times, we bring it back to today and this week with the farm show. Again, we're sitting next to some Christmas trees, how many Christmas tree farms, and the economy, and people don't necessarily think of that as agriculture. It's small business, it's the ability to have a Christmas tree farm, but the ability to grow is something that people need to learn about and people go to school for. And we have some wonderful schools here in Pennsylvania that teach people how to become part of agribusiness, and the highlights within our budget affect that as well.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of dollars that go into this industry, and but here at the farm show, I know that there were some new highlights that we had this year that are brand new. Can you talk about some of the things that are brand new to this farm show this year?
Yeah, so we have a couple that I'm particularly proud of. Last year we took the duck slide away. And
I know, people are very disappointed.
We're disappointed. So we brought the ducks back in a more natural environment. There's a waterfowl exhibit. So the ducks are here, they're just in water, they're swimming.
They're probably very happy.
They're very happy, they're doing their thing. That's one. I think the mushroom industry, we're the largest.
That was the biggest thing that they came over with at the food court was more mushrooms.
More mushrooms.
Everything was mushroom. Mushroom soup, mushroom salad, mushroom
and we have a great display over here this year that really tells the story of how do you produce mushrooms. That's new this year. We have a quilt, the Grange has a heritage trail with quilt patches. Here at the Farm Show Complex. It's sort of all over Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. We have more PA preferred new products down here. We've got hemp here, industrial hemp.
That's a big new one, right?
It's a big deal. So that's just a flavoring.
And the
of,
cider tasting, that was, you know, we
you've
have
got
that.
the craft ciders and beers, the
Have a
wine.
couple from our area that are here. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Hey.
It's all inside this complex.
And it's a huge complex. People can walk for what seems like days, but obviously it's not, and experience it. Well, thank you very much for sitting down and
thanks for all your good work.
all the conversation and education. So we're glad to be here with you, and come on out to the farm show because there's a lot to see and do. And the 104th Farm Show this year, come on out and enjoy it. We're having a great time. Come learn about agriculture in Pennsylvania.